It all began on a quiet morning in Rome, the kind of morning that hides a storm behind its calm. Sara Bluma didn't expect that her birthday this year would become the most talked about day of her life. She had already decided to keep things low-key, away from the noise of cameras and gossip pages. After all, months had passed since the rumors about her and Yaman started spreading like wildfire again. But sometimes, fate doesn't care about plans. Early that morning, Sara received a small package at her door. There was no sender's name. No logo. Just a simple black box tied with a red silk ribbon. It looked elegant, mysterious, and strangely familiar. Her hands trembled slightly as she picked it up. She knew that kind of minimalistic style. Only one person she had met in her entire life had that exact taste for mystery, Yaman. The media had been guessing for weeks whether the two were still in contact after their quiet fallout earlier in the year. There were whispers that they had seen each other briefly in Milan, that Ken had texted her late one night, that Sara had deleted a post hours after uploading it because it had a hidden message only he could understand. No one knew what was true, until that box arrived. Inside her apartment, the soft Roman sunlight touched the black box as she untied the ribbon. Slowly. Carefully. Like someone opening a secret they're not ready to face. She took a deep breath and lifted the lid. Inside, there wasn't jewelry, perfume, or anything ordinary. It was something far more personal, a silver key, small but shining, resting on a folded piece of paper. Sara froze. The key looked identical to the one she once held years ago in Istanbul, the key to Ken's old apartment. Her eyes widened. Could it be the same one? Was he sending a message? She unfolded the note beside it, her pulse racing. The handwriting was unmistakable, Ken's. The message said only 3 words. Some doors stay. That was it. No name, no explanation. Just that haunting line, like a whisper from the past that suddenly becomes too loud to ignore. For a moment, she didn't know whether to smile, cry, or call him right away. But deep down, she knew, this wasn't just a gift. It was a door opening again, after being locked for too long. Outside, paparazzi were already stationed near her building. Someone must have leaked that a delivery had arrived for her. But none of them could imagine what was really inside that black box, or how it would change everything. That night, the internet exploded. Photos of Sara's emotional reaction began circulating online. And the question on everyone's lips was the same. What was in Yaman's birthday gift? Because from the way she looked when she stepped out, eyes shining with tears but also with something softer, something nostalgic, people could tell, it wasn't just any present. It was something that touched her heart, something only Ken could have sent. By the next morning, the mysterious gift had become the #1 trending topic across Italy and Turkey. The key of love, tabloids called it, while fan pages across Europe flooded with theories. Some said it was a secret invitation from Ken for Sara to visit him. Others believed it was a symbolic gesture, a way of saying you'll always have a place in my heart. No official statement came from either of them. Not a word. But silence, in their case, spoke louder than any denial. Ken was in Budapest at the time, filming new scenes for his upcoming project. Yet, even in the middle of a busy schedule, paparazzi captured something unusual, a short clip of him stepping out of his car, smiling faintly, holding his phone close to his chest. When asked if he had sent the gift, he didn't answer. He simply said, "Some things are meant to stay private." That single sentence sent the internet into meltdown. Fans began editing old clips of them together. Interviews, behind-the-scenes laughter, the way they used to look at each other during the Daliane era. Every detail felt like a clue, every word a hidden message. And in the middle of it all, that silver key became the symbol of a love that maybe never truly ended. Sara, meanwhile, tried to stay out of sight. But the paparazzi didn't make it easy. When she finally stepped out for a walk through the narrow streets near Trastevere, cameras caught her wearing a simple silver chain, with that same key hanging softly over her heart. It was no longer a mystery. She wasn't hiding it. For her followers, it was a declaration without words. The gesture said everything. She had accepted the gift, and with it, perhaps, everything it represented. That evening, a close friend of hers, anonymously quoted in Chi magazine, said, "Sara didn't expect it. She thought that chapter of her life was closed. But when she saw the key, it was like time stopped. She realized that maybe he never really let her go." In the following days, thousands of fans wrote messages under their old photos together, "Bring them back, some doors should never close, love always finds a way." And yet, as the public got swept up in the romance, something darker stirred behind the scenes. For Can, this gesture wasn't just nostalgic. It was his own quiet confession, a message he couldn't express with words, not anymore. His friends, too, noticed the change. He had grown quieter, more introspective, even during filming. Between takes, he'd often stare into his phone, scroll through old photos, then smile faintly, as if reliving something only he could see. When one of his co-stars jokingly asked if he was in love again, Ken replied with a line that no one expected. "Some loves don't end. They just change their home." The headlines wouldn't stop. Every morning, every evening, new stories appeared. Is the key a symbol of reunion? Sara's necklace, proof that love still exists? Can's secret gift leaves fans in tears. The media frenzy had turned something intimate into a public storm. And for the first time, Sara began to feel the weight of what that small gesture had unleashed. Every time she opened her phone, she saw her own face, walking, smiling, crying, all frozen in thousands of photos taken without her consent. One night, as she sat on her balcony overlooking Rome, she turned the silver key in her hands, whispering to herself, "Why now, Can?" Because deep down, she knew, this wasn't just nostalgia. It was a signal, and one she wasn't sure she was ready to answer. Meanwhile in Istanbul, someone else had noticed the headlines, Can's mother, Yaman. She had always been protective of her son, watching every rumor, every story. And though she never interfered publicly, those who knew her said she had a strong influence on Can's emotional life. When she saw the photos of Sara wearing the key, she didn't smile. A Turkish magazine later reported that she had called her son that evening. Her words were calm, but heavy. Can, the past has a way of returning when you least expect it. But not all returns are meant to last. Can didn't respond immediately. He just listened, quietly, respectfully, before saying, "Some stories don't end, Anne. They just pause." That line spread like wildfire once it was leaked. Fans quoted it everywhere, turning it into a viral phrase. Some stories don't end. It became more than a defense, it was a declaration, poetic, mysterious, romantic. Sara, however, stayed silent. She refused all interviews, ignoring requests from Italian talk shows that begged her to speak about the birthday mystery. Yet, her silence only fueled the speculation further. 3 days later, paparazzi caught Can arriving secretly in Rome. He was seen at Fiumicino Airport wearing sunglasses, a black hoodie, and carrying a single suitcase. No assistants. No security. Just him. Fans went wild. "He's here for Sara." Journalists followed him all day, but he disappeared into the heart of the city, slipping away unnoticed. That evening, a single Instagram story appeared on Sara's profile. A photo of the sky at sunset. No caption. Just a small silver key emoji. Key. People lost their minds. Was this her response to Can's message? Was he with her? No one knew for sure. But that night, Rome felt electric, as if something big was about to happen. Meanwhile, back in Turkey, entertainment reporters were trying to confirm whether Can had indeed flown to Italy. His team refused to comment, saying only, "He's taking a short personal break." But fans weren't buying it. They knew this wasn't just a break. It was a moment, a long-awaited reunion. And somewhere in Rome, behind closed doors, two people who once loved each other more than words could describe were about to face the question that haunted them both for years. Can love survive time, distance, and fame? That night, something in the air felt different. The streets of Rome were glowing softly under the orange lights, and a thin drizzle began to fall, the kind of rain that carries memories instead of water. Sara was at home, standing by the window, the silver key still hanging around her neck. She didn't know if she was ready to see him again, yet a part of her already felt he was near. And she was right. At exactly 9:47 p.m., the intercom buzzed. For a moment, she froze. Then, slowly, she walked toward it. Her hand trembled slightly as she pressed the button. "Chie?" The voice on the other end was calm. Deep. Familiar. "Non ho dimenticato." 3 words. "I haven't forgotten." Her heart stopped. It was him. Moments later, she opened the door, and there he was, Yaman, standing in the hallway, his hair slightly wet from the rain, his eyes heavy with emotion. He didn't say anything at first. Neither did she. The silence between them carried years of distance, regret, and unspoken love. Finally, Sara whispered, "You shouldn't have come." Ken smiled softly. "Then why did you wear it?" Her hand instinctively touched the silver key on her chest. She wanted to speak, to explain, to hide, but nothing came out. Instead, her eyes filled with tears. Ken took a small step closer, his gaze never leaving hers. "I didn't send it to remind you of the past," he said quietly. "I sent it because some doors are meant to open again. Even if it hurts." Sara shook her head gently, fighting the emotions rising in her chest. "You can't just walk back into my life with a key and expect everything to be the same." Ken nodded. "I don't expect it to be the same," he said. "I just needed you to know that it was real. What we had. What I felt. What I still feel." Those last words broke something inside her. She looked away, wiping her tears, but they kept coming. He stepped closer again, now only inches away. The air between them felt alive, trembling with all the things they'd left unsaid. "Do you remember the first time you gave me a key?" he asked. Sara smiled faintly through her tears. "You lost it the next day." "I didn't lose it," he said softly. "I kept it in my wallet for years." She looked up at him, eyes shining. "And now you gave it back?" Ken nodded slowly. "Because it was never about the apartment, Sara. It was about us. That key was our promise, and I couldn't keep it locked anymore." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The world outside had faded away, no paparazzi, no headlines, no noise. Just 2 people and a key that had crossed years, cities, and broken hearts to find its way back home. Then, quietly, she reached for his hand. "You always had a way of turning pain into something beautiful," she whispered. He smiled, that same half-smile that had once made millions fall in love with him on screen, but which, in reality, had always belonged only to her. Sara leaned closer, resting her forehead against his. "You didn't have to do this," she said softly. "I did," he replied. "Because I never said goodbye. And maybe I never will." Her tears fell onto his hand as they stood there, caught between past and present, between forgiveness and love. Outside, the rain stopped. The city grew silent. And inside that small Roman apartment, the door that had once closed, finally opened again. By morning, the internet exploded. A single blurred photo taken from a distance showed Ken leaving Sara's building before sunrise. Fans flooded social media with messages like "It's real again," and "The key unlocked more than a door." Neither Ken nor Sara posted anything that day. But 2 hours later, a story appeared briefly on Ken's account, a black background, no caption, only a small silver key emoji. Key. It vanished after 10 minutes. But for millions of fans, that was enough. They knew exactly what it meant. This wasn't just a gift. It was a confession of love. And for the first time in years, it felt like their story wasn't ending, it was beginning again.